The Knicks, they've been stacking up signature wins, as Kendrick Perkins would say. The Heat, they were the latest team to take an L in the Garden. Unfortunately, though, Julius Randle, he dislocated his shoulder late in that game. And our Adrian Wojnarowski reports that there is optimism that this will be, quote, weeks and not months that Randle is out. But hopefully, Stephen A., he's feeling a little bit better than he was on Saturday.
If he is not okay, you're going to see an entirely different Stephen A. Smith on the air. Somebody that's going to be incredibly depressed and mortified at the thought of the New York Knicks continuing this season without him. I don't even want to think about it. I'd rather y'all talk and just take it from here. I just don't even want to think about. And didn't we just say before he got injured that the New York Knicks have looked better than they've looked in years?
Yes.
Yeah.
This just can't be happening.
Yeah.
Perk, you have been the Knicks' biggest supporter on this show. Can you please give some hope, some help to our colleague, Stephen A.?
Hell yeah, because the Knicks, if he haven't been watching, which it seems like he haven't, it's a plug and replace, right? Mitchell Robinson go down, Hardenstein step in and fill right on in. He goes down, all of a sudden, hey, the next man up mentality. And Jalen Brunson, let me tell you this. Let me tell you the important part about this run that the Knicks are about to go on. Not only has he put the world on notice, but with Julius Randle being out, and we don't know for how long, Jalen Brunson is about to turn it up another level to the point where we're going to have to mention this young man in the MVP conversation. You could book it. I'm saying it right now. He's going to turn it up so much that we're going to have to mention him in the MVP conversation because, look, they're only 2 games behind the second spot in the Eastern Conference. On top of that, my apologies to OG Anunoby, okay? I was not familiar with his offensive game. I know he's known as a defender, a guy that could stretch the floor and knock down threes, a guy that could cut to the basket. Oh, but he got a bigger bag than what I have seen in the past with the Raptors. Tibb is letting this young man play. The Knicks are going to go on the rise. Jalen Brunson is going to enter himself in the MVP conversation while Julius Randle is out. You could book it. What today's date is, I don't even know.
It's the 29th.
I know it's Monday, but you can book it on this Monday. Yeah.
Are you booking it, Tim?
I love this prediction because I think actually you might see over the next 9 games, let's say, and that takes us through the All-Star break, and that's about 3 weeks. And that could be, get Julius Randle back right after that when you got Boston and Philly back-to-back. They got a 9-game stretch here. It's not easy, but, you play good teams, not great teams, and you got a couple of bottom feeders in there. You've got really no title contenders unless you include L.A. and Dallas in that. That might be a reach for some people. But here's the thing. Jalen Brunson has the type of game you might see Brunson join the 60-point club while he's out because that's the extent to which he can control the game. And it's very difficult to get the ball out of his hands, right? He's too strong. He's too on balance. He's got escapability. He doesn't get himself in tough spots on the floor. If you want to talk about a team running their offense through one guy while he's out, you're looking at him. Also, one more name I want to mention, Precious Achiuwa. This would look like a throw-in in this trade. You're going to see heavy minutes out of Precious Achiuwa, and I think he's going to be the type of guy that can give you some double-doubles while Julius Randle is out.
See, Perk is, look at Perk. He's so happy.
I love everybody. I love everybody. Legs, where have you been?
Brian, when we just saw the stretch, the Legs mentioned it, he was very kind. A couple of bottom feeders, maybe not quite title contenders. Those really kind ways to put the stretch coming up here for the New York Knicks. What do you need to see, Brian, the Knicks do to make it through this?
I don't like shoulder injuries, guys. I know that he may have avoided needing surgery right now. Shoulder injuries, especially dislocated shoulders, bother players for months. They reoccur. And while the Knicks have shown a good ability to make up for Mitchell Robinson, I think they've got to consider the trade market. And one name, they could call back the people that they just did a deal with in the Toronto Raptors and ask about Bruce Brown Jr. Bruce Brown Jr. plays multiple positions. He's got championship DNA, championship experience, plays hard-nosed defense, is a Tibbs type of player. The Knicks have 8 tradable first-round picks and an expiring contract in Evan Fournier, who they could maybe negotiate with there. I wouldn't say they have to make a deal, but I would absolutely think that they would investigate the market, not because they think Randle's going to be out for a huge stretch of time, but just because of their depletion in the front court, and that this team has the ability to make some noise in the postseason. They should gear up for it.
One thing I want to say, and I know I said a lot of positive stuff there, Perk, and I don't want to be the downer now, but here's the thing. I want to echo what Wendy said, and this is important. It's his right shoulder, and people might say, well, it's his right shoulder. Why is that as big a deal? And here's why. For a left-handed power player, when he's going to be in the lane, in the post, the defender is going to be on the right side of his body because that's how he's going to position himself. So the ball's on this side. So that means the chop down action is going to come across his body. So when he's going up with two hands in the paint or at the rim after a jump stop, most of the reaching and the contact is coming across his right arm as he's going up. Yeah. That's the kind of injury you worry about coming back from his shoulder, is that force coming down on your forearm.
Go ahead, Perk.
And don't rush it. I had 4 shoulder surgeries, right? And I tore mine in the finals. I tore mine during the season. Don't rush the process. You know, make sure that you're close to 100% as possible. But in time, I think this offseason, he's still going to have surgery to get it fixed, because it could linger on for the rest of his career.
Right. Well, look for Josh Hart, obviously, to be back in that little big man role that he played on the Olympic team, right? This is Josh Hart. I mean, you're not going to put on 45 pounds of muscle before the game here, but he can get in there and rebound. I know, Brian, you brought up Bruce Brown, but like Josh Hart is already on the team and he's already got that physicality. I think that's what they miss the most, is the physicality, because they've been flat out beating people up physically.
Right.
And Randle is at the center of that.
Yeah.
So when you don't have him for an extended length of time, it changes. But I don't think they're going to stop being a physical.
Right. And again, we're just reporting that it's going to be weeks and not months, and that is a sigh of relief for Knicks fans.
All-Star break works for you.
Right, exactly. All-Star break working in your favor, the schedule working in your favor a little bit, and then also the trade deadline being a week and a half away. They do have a little bit of time here to see if they want to tinker, make some maneuvers. We're going coast to coast to catch you up on the NBA action this weekend. We're going to start with the Suns at the Magic. Devin Booker had 44, but only 2 in the fourth quarter. Orlando held the Suns offense to just 13 points total in that final period. Tim, why can't Phoenix score in the fourth?
Well, here's my bigger question, Malika. Why is a team that's this loaded up at the top with 3 offensive players like that so reliant on one guy right now? Like, you look at Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant, right? What they combine for 24 points when Booker gets 44. That's not how this is supposed to go. Yeah. And they lose 2 of his big scoring games. I just wonder what the vibe is, coming in today to the facility when 2 games now you've lost, when Booker's gone off and other guys have been kept in check.
Right, particularly because this is the team where you're supposed to be hanging your hat on offense. So this was a little bit of a surprise, though. As we move on to the Thunder and the Pistons, OKC got bounced in an early Sunday tip-off. Jalen Duren had a 20-20 game. Detroit had the lead for the entire second half. We've talked about what the Thunder might need to do, some tweaks. Do they need to add a big, Ramona?
Yeah, they could use a tough guy inside, somebody to help with rebounding. I also think, this is a classic schedule loss right here, that day game. It's on the road against a bad team, and
we're just trying to give Detroit a little bit of love.
Yeah, give them some love.
Bit of a rough football weekend for them.
Square.
So, but Lions fans, you really should be proud of your team this year. All right, the Timberwolves, the Spurs, Anthony Edwards threw down this big dunk.
Oh, my God.
But it wasn't enough. Victor Wembanyama pulled up the upset win. And the sham guy.
Trampoline.
I think Perk might be able to do that. Perk, did you see this?
Oh.
What?
Come on.
Yeah, I can't do it. They got the video circulating, but look, the Timberwolves
that
last 5 games they have been very disappointing. Like losing to the Spurs and the Hornets. I'm looking at a team that is playing for themselves, selfish basketball. They need to get back to their identity, and that's a gender-free basketball on both ends of the floor.
Well, then on Saturday, the Clippers, they had a dominant win in Boston. It was just the second home loss of the season for the Celtics. Kawhi led the Clippers with 26 points, but this one, it was about the defense. They held Boston to 96 points. It's tied for their lowest scoring game of the season. Here's head coach Ty Lue after the game.
Would you think this is your best defensive team since the 08 Celtics?
We got a long ways to go. I mean, but we have the potential, like you said, the potential to be, really good, and I think we can get to that point where we are a really elite, defensive team.
All right, Tim, so show us what Ty Lue was talking about here.
Yeah, look, they're so impressive, and right now I think playing at the highest level they have. And this is a team in Boston that's got so much versatility in the ways they can attack. Let's take a look at some of the things the Clippers are doing. And the first thing they were doing, I can't recall seeing a game this year in which so many players fought over screens this far out on the perimeter. And that's what it takes. You've got to get into his body, and when Jason Tatum comes around this, you're taking away all airspace. You don't see that a lot in the NBA anymore, that far out on the floor, but that's a great effort by Terrence Mann. You're also going to rely obviously, on getting your help from your big guy, and that's exactly what Plumlee does. He makes sure Tatum doesn't walk into a three on this. Comes off. Next, you know this is a pick-and-pop situation. This is a Horford sweet spot. Well, the key is the weak side guy has to be moving while the ball is in the air. Look at Kawhi Leonard. He is in a dead sprint as the ball is coming to Al Horford because he's going to make sure I am going to make Al Horford put this basketball back down on the floor. He's not going to get a catch-and-shoot three, and then I'm going to rely on help. Plumlee gets back into the play, and then here's the key. I don't think I've seen James Harden play this hard defensively in a game in his career.
Yeah.
This is a dead sprint to the opposite corner to make sure that this three-point shot is taken away. Drive in, get caught up in the air. Why? Because Plumlee's back here with high hands. Horford wanted to make this pass to the baseline. Drew Holiday can't do it, gets hung up in the air. And then Kawhi Leonard back into the play is the guy that ends up with the steal. That is textbook help and recover defense, and this is what it leads to. You get out in the open floor. Paul George loves getting two easy ones. Take a look at another possession, and this is elite level. You could do an instructional video on this defensively. Derek White looks like he's headed in this direction, so Paul George, this is just effort. His shoulders are facing this way because that's where the screen is coming from. Derek White switches up and comes downhill this way. Watch the way that Paul George turns his shoulders and chases and pursues the basketball, and then Plumlee there to help him on the penetration. That's just sheer effort. A lot of guys would have given up when you get crossed up like that. Now you get down here downhill, you got everybody lined up to help you at the foul line. Now take a look at what happens once this ball is passed. So I'm talking about James Harden. Wait, is this James Harden? Is that James Harden closing out that hard?
Yeah,
and then James Harden sliding with the basketball, not getting beat off the dribble? The last component of this, I want you to watch Terrence Mann, because he not only comes to help, he gets vertical. He gets in the air, but watch what he does after he lands. Here comes a swing pass to Jaylen Brown. Take a look at Terrence Mann. He is on a dead sprint from under the rim trying to get out here to Derek White. And now you got Paul George locking up in a one-on-one situation, and the final part of this. You've got two players stunt and recover. Both guys get back to theirs, and you're going to end up with Jaylen Brown picking up his dribble at the elbow. High hands by Paul George. Doesn't give him anything good. This is where the video keeps freezing all morning when I've been doing it. But he's going to miss this shot. Harden gets a defensive rebound to finish literally an elite level defensive possession. You can't do it any better than that. And this is what the Clippers are doing. They frustrated Boston the entire game.